The Rock and Triple H reveal the WrestleMania 40 changes. Plus, we have an update on Joe Hendry's NXT return. Plus, a WCW legend could be returning to WWE in a backstage role. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. It's finally here, just for you. The WrestleMania documentary with the DK crew. It only took several hundred months, but finally we got the WrestleMania 40 doc that we were meant to see the Wednesday after Mania. Yep. It premiered on YouTube last night, and in it we learned from some of the major players behind the scenes and in front of the scenes on how that main event of WrestleMania 40 pivoted. And contrary to some speculation and some conspiracy, it truly did pivot, according to these people.
Yeah, so Triple H said that the plan was in place for Cody to lose to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39 and then build up to a rematch, which he would then win at WrestleMania 40. At the same time, however, according to The Rock, there have been conversations between he and Nick Khan for a potential Rock versus Roman match at WrestleMania 42. Something that only started to truly come together around January. Obviously, we got the Rock promo where it was like, who should hit at the head of the table? And then everybody was like, what's going on here then?
And Matt Camp did an interesting interview. Matt Camp, who used to be the host on The Bump, and he was told that they were told not to allude to a Rock and Roman match at WrestleMania 40 after seeing that clip.
Wow.
It's like, well, you're going to look like a moron.
Yeah, of course you are, aren't you?
What could that mean?
Anyway, Triple H detailed the conversation he had with Cody Rhodes, and he said, I sat with Cody at the Royal Rumble in the afternoon and told him it was becoming more of a reality that the match with Roman and The Rock could take place at WrestleMania. I didn't think anybody knew a thing outside Cody, and I'm sure that was a brutal day. Obviously, his question is, where does that leave me? I'm like, not sure yet, so that's on me to figure out, because this is all happening in real time. We're going to see what the reaction is.
It was revealed that no plans were actually in place for Cody Rhodes after the angle took place where he allowed The Rock to step into his spot at WrestleMania. And there were some reports that there would be a storyline twist where Cody would get taken out by the bloodline, and consequently we wouldn't see Cody competing at WrestleMania at all. And obviously that ended up not being the case. The cameras for this documentary captured Cody Rhodes throughout the day, and yeah, he looks pretty miserable about the whole thing, as you can probably imagine. The reaction that we got to The Rock's return, excitement in the arena, vitriolic online, and The Rock revealed it was something that he truly couldn't avoid. He said, in the WrestleMania documentary, I called Nick Khan and Triple H, and I called Ari Emanuel. I said, here's how I'm feeling. We can truck through this and we can put on this main event. And the majority of the world, many of which don't watch WWE, who we do plan on pulling in, they're going to love the idea of Rock and Roman. And we're going to tell this amazing story. Hopefully this will be the first chapter of a few. We could do that. However, my gut says Ari, Nick, Triple H, my gut says, I don't like, even if it's like a segment of fans, I don't like that they're upset. And that really bugged the SH1T out of me. And it's not how I've operated in my entire career. I don't like it. And I knew essentially the choice was mine. Of course, this then led to the pivot and The Rock turning heel and the tag team match and all the stuff that we got at WrestleMania 40. But it kind of potentially puts away any speculation that this was some kind of convoluted plan, and it was just like, no, they really wanted to do Rock and Roman, and the crowd said no, and Rock listened.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this documentary. I've not actually seen it yet, so I don't know the context and perhaps how some things have been said and the tone of these things that have been said. I don't know if maybe on behalf of The Rock it's a little bit of politicking in terms of like, because he says here, I don't like it, and I knew essentially the choice was mine, and I'm like, well, what? So are you trying to make yourself seem like you're the guy who then went on to be like,
I'm gonna do it.
I put these things in place, and we had the greatest WrestleMania. Rock.
Yeah, boy, you did.
So I'm not too sure. I am very, very excited to see how it goes. And obviously, we got what we got, and it was tremendous. And I'm so thankful. And I think a lot of people are as well that we got to where we are. with WrestleMania
I think the
40,
right story was definitely told throughout all of that one. Could we have more of the Joe Hendry story told? in WWE. Shawn Michaels leading a media call last night, and he was asked about it.
He was, yeah. He said, clearly, you should see what it is. It was my first time meeting Joe, even for me, not being the most skilled social media guy. You see his stuff all the time on social media. Clearly, he's a bright young man. The short dealings that I had with him, I liked him a great deal. Nothing would thrill me more than to have the opportunity to work with Joe Hendry in the future. I think he would tell you the same thing. He's somebody that wants to continue to grow and move up. Shawn continues to say, right now, nothing to add at this point in time. He's a young man that's very bright and has a bright future. I appreciate the way he's generated this on his own. That always speaks well of somebody. I appreciate the intellect that it takes for somebody to grow outside of the wheelhouse they are in.
So Joe Hendry, I think, from what we've gleaned from reports and stuff, Joe Hendry is very well liked backstage at NXT.
Yep.
And Shawn Michaels glowing about him there. I think we'll see him at Heatwave.
I have a feeling we might do as well, you know? It feels right, doesn't it? I feel like if you're going to capitalize on something like this, and you've obviously got the partnership with TNA, why not do it as soon as possible?
Yeah.
We didn't get much of him on NXT itself, that episode that he popped up. And I think this is a chance to have a little bit more of that goodness on telly.
And I think that was by design that we didn't get much of him. We want to leave him wanting more, as they say. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a baddie rock up at Heatwave and go like, hey, I haven't got a match, give me a match, and then say his name, and here he comes.
That would be very cool.
Mows him down.
I would be very happy with that.
Beats him up, wins all the belts on the same night. That's it. And do you know what? I don't think. No, we haven't. We haven't had Joe Hendry's entrance in an arena.
Oh no, we haven't, have we?
No, we've had it obviously in the Impact Zone. We've had it in NXT, but in an arena,
the pop will be insane.
That's going to be a real acid test. I really want the pop to be insane.
I
really want the pop to be insane, but that's going to be a real acid test.
I don't know, because the thing is with the Joe Hendry stuff, it transcends wrestling. It's it's literally like whatever you do. If you're scrolling on whatever, there's a Joe Hendry thing in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if people don't even know about wrestling. They know that song and they just know this face that pops up, right? And people are putting the sound in these videos, this, that, and the other. I really do think that if it's in an arena, I think at this moment in time, for sure, the pop would be ridiculous.
I think, right, if he turns up at Heatwave, I think he will. If he turns up and the pop is magnificent, I reckon as soon as he's done with TNA, he'll be in WWE.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be an acid test for him.
The glowing stuff there that Shawn says about him, I feel
Shawn seems keen.
I feel like if Hendry's TNA contract was to come to a close, they would snap him up in a heartbeat.
I think they would, Also from the media call last night, Shawn Michaels was asked about Drew Gulak and Gable Stevenson's departure. Michaels comments that for Drew Gulak, it was merely his contract being up from his understanding, and there were no main roster plans in place for him. He also praised Gable Stevenson's ability and reiterated that his contract was up, but there were no main roster plans in place. And that's the reason why both of those got let go. Shawn Michaels said that nothing is set in stone when it comes to taking NXT on the road full time. There was some speculation that we would see NXT become a touring brand, as are Raw and SmackDown once they go onto the CW. But Shawn Michaels has said that currently, the roster is happy with the setup they've got, and having pay-per-views on the road is a nice balance for them. But he says nothing's set in stone, and a lot of those decisions are over his head. But he's keen on the setup they currently have, and I imagine the NXT trainees are keen on that as well.
I think the trainees are keen. I think also I imagine they themselves are quite keen as well, because you know what, like you were saying, you know what setup you've got. You've got real fans of the actual product as well there that always bring it every week. And I think just what they've got aesthetically looks, it's just NXT, isn't it? You kind of it feels synonymous with it at that point.
But money will always be the big talk.
True.
So
that's true.
if they realize they can make big money taking it full time on the road, then they won't resist doing
that.
No,
that's a good point.
I don't think. Speaking of on the road, a WCW legend could be returning to road duties for WWE in a behind the scenes role. Yorkshire.
This comes from PW Insider. A very interesting name has been popping up as of late. I'm told that British star David Taylor, who of course worked for World Championship Wrestling and then later was Drew McIntyre's first partner in WWE, is back in the company. He's been seen in some fashion at some WWE NXT tapings and at the Performance Center. I'm also told he's been at some SmackDowns on the road. One person told me they believe he might be getting a tryout as a producer. However, I have not seen him listed as a producer on any sort of list that we get about who's working behind the scenes on the show. So it could be that he's there kind of feeling out the process, and Finlay and William Regal will be rubbing their hands in glee.
That wonderful British invasion.
Absolutely.
Behind the scenes at WWE. Yeah, David Taylor's got a wealth of knowledge to give, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up offering him something.
Agreed.
To be a part of the team, I wouldn't have thought.
And he's got, as I mentioned there, William Regal, Finlay as well, great relationship with those guys, and I feel like they would absolutely back for him as well, wouldn't they?
100% they would. If you want a little bit of that WCW nostalgia, later on today on the Cultaholic podcast feed, brand new episode of the Cultaholic Classic Nitro Review. Myself and Sam Driver, every single week, barring the weeks when we don't, are watching every episode of Monday Nitro. We're watching the takeover of Nitro and the NWO week to week to week, with notes from the Observer and other reports at the time, and we're just analysing it as we go, seeing if we can spot the peaks and the troughs.
I love that. That's such a cool idea.
It's really good fun, and I must admit, week to week Nitro has been quite heavy viewing, to be honest. It's not the best, I'll be honest with you, but I'm fascinated to watch it. We're just on the way to NWO Sold Out.
Oh, wow.
Which is the first and last NWO pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So we're telling the stories that are getting us there. Been really interesting. Join us on the podcast feed a little later on today. If you're a Patreon as well, you can watch the video version at patreon.com/cultaholic. This weekend, it is an Andrew and Adam weekend because it is a WWE Premium Live event.
It is. It's Money in the Bank, everybody. Woo! I'm excited. I can't wait for it. Me and Adam.
Briefcases in the air.
Whoa.
And wave them like I just don't care.
Exactly. Just like Tom said there. We'll be on YouTube, youtube.com/cultaholic/live. It's not European time anymore. We've been spoiled. We've been spoiled the last few. So I believe I'm assuming the pre-show will be at like 12 o'clock in the night time. Main show 1 a.m. I assume, at least anyway. But we've got pictures, predictions coming out later today as well. Also, Tom's got a wonderful Desert Island Graps too, and we've also got the No Mercy video come out. I know it's been a little while since it's come out at this point, but we've got that too, so you should go check that out because Tom did an amazing job.
Our love letter to No Mercy, which is on the channel right now. It's nearly an hour long, and I think it's the deepest dive on the YouTube into No Mercy, with a fantastic edit by this man sat to my left here. A phenomenal bit of business.
Script my tired by this man right here.
It's only part of the dream. You like Freiheit, you're keeping the dream alive. And for more wrestling, Freiheit, not Freiheit, that's cooking spray.
Oh, sorry.
Freiheit, the band.
Oh.
The hope we had was much too high, way out of reach, but we have to try. Go look it up, it's brilliant. For more wrestling news throughout the day, you can check out cultaholic.com. Keys.
Love you, bye.